So one of the big differences between this year and last year is, of course, as things are opening up. Last year I had to kasher all my cutlery, I had to dip it in boiling water in the kitchen, I had to do this whole makeshift creation to manage to do that on my own. And hopefully, to keep things a bit simpler this year, they have public gatherings, public what we call hagala, places where they're basically just dunking your cutlery or cups, generally metal items. Some will also kasher hard plastic. I think it's fine to kasher hard plastic as well. In sort of big vats of boiling water. So let's go over and see some of that. After that, I'll also post the footage of me kashering for last year, if that's helpful to anyone.
כאשר זכינו לסדר אותו, כאשר זכינו לסדר אותו, כן נזכה לעשותו.
So we mentioned in a previous video that usually there are big stations where we can do what's called hagala, which means literally kashering the utensils, metal utensils specifically, ideally. But this year, of course, there's no public centres where they'll be doing that, so I'm doing my own makeshift version. So I have a big pot here, the biggest pot I have, and water is currently boiling on it, or getting ready to boil. I have my little basket which I'm going to dip with everything inside. I've got the cups here which I'm going to be using, a few dummies, which again are not necessary, but it's a good thing to try and get rid of the chametz. And now I'm going to gather some cutlery together, which will also be dipped in this boiling water. I'll explain as I go along. This is a Pesach pot. If I were to be using a chametz pot, I would have to use one that has not been used for 24 hours, but because I'm using a Pesach pot, it doesn't really matter when it has been used. So I'm now gathering up some of the cutlery. So this cutlery we are using, and now I'm basically going through each of the cutlery and just making sure that it is totally clean on all sides, no bits on it. I'll see if I can find one. Every so often you do find a little tiny bit that was missed during the washing up or something along those lines anyway. So I'll check each one before I do it, because any tiny amount really does invalidate the whole process. And because this is currently chametz cutlery, it cannot have been used for the last 24 hours. So we have not used this for at least, a few days now. So that's fine. And the other thing to note is that we specifically use cutlery which doesn't have any grooves or anything where things are going to get stuck inside. So it's all made of one piece, this cutlery, and therefore it will kasher very, very easily, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, so we're now ready. We've got a furiously bubbling pot of water. We've got all the cups here ready. We're going to drop them into the water while it's bubbling. You see already the temperature begins to drop. I'm going to turn this cup around just so it's done on both sides. Okay, and we're going to try and bring the water back to the boil. So I'll put the lid back on. Oh, and then pour all the cups out and get some cold water on them. This is important as part of the kashering, so that it doesn't cool down slowly and the paste, as it were, transfers back into the pot, into the cup. So that's it. These are now Pesach plates, Pesach cups.
Yeah.
Okay, now onto a little bit of cutlery. Hopefully the holes won't be too big and won't lose too much of it. But anyway, so we just get them in there. Don't need really to spend any more than a couple of seconds in there. And now straight on. Tip this out once more and get them on cold water. Okay, didn't make it into the sieve, but they're cold anyway. Okay, so the knives I'm going to do slightly differently. I've noticed, of course, that these holes really are just too big for the knives. They just go straight through, so we're going to do it slightly differently. What we're going to do is basically going to dip one half in and dip the other half in. As I said, it does not all need to go in one go. So, simply drop in half of them. I've got my protective gloves, drop in the other half, and that is the knives now done.